Welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to try to unpack something that can seem pretty intimidating to a lot of people,
Yeah.
but it's actually incredibly relevant to how businesses operate today, and that is information systems.
Absolutely.
You've actually shared a document with us that looks like a pretty thorough guide to this world.
Yeah, it is.
So let's see if we can break it down together and make it less daunting and, honestly, a little bit more fun to learn.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's really cool about this whole topic of information systems is that it's not just for the techies out there.
Yeah.
It's really about understanding how businesses use technology to get things done to achieve their goals.
Exactly.
Everything from something as simple as, ringing up a sale at a cash register to making really complex strategic decisions.
Right.
And in this deep dive, we're going to be covering it all.
Yeah.
We're going to start from the very foundations of what information systems are all about. And then we're going to dive into some really cutting edge stuff like artificial intelligence and virtual reality.
I'm excited.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so the document starts off strong with a pretty basic question. What are information systems?
Yeah.
But it actually goes a little deeper than that, and it stresses that not all information is created equal.
Right.
It even goes so far as to define what makes information valuable.
That's a really important point. And the document highlights 3 key characteristics of valuable information.
Okay, let's hear it.
It needs to be simple, it needs to be timely, and it needs to be verifiable.
I like it.
So imagine you're a manager and you're trying to make a decision about, launching a new product.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to base your decision on sales figures that are a year old or information that you can't even verify, right?
You'd be setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly. Having accurate information that's up to date and easy to understand is absolutely crucial for making the right call every single time.
That makes total sense. It's like trying to bake a cake with a recipe that's missing ingredients or using expired milk.
Exactly.
It's just not going to turn out well.
Yeah, you're going to have a bad time.
Exactly. Now, the document then makes a distinction between manual and computerized information systems.
Right.
And I'm curious, how do those actually differ in the real world?
Okay, well, think about a library.
Okay.
If you have an old school card catalog system where you're manually flipping through cards to find a book, that's a manual information system.
Okay.
But a library that uses a computerized database to search for books, that's using a computerized information system.
Okay.
So both systems are trying to help you find the information you need, but they use very different technologies to do so.
So computerized information systems are essentially about using technology to manage and process information in a more efficient way.
Exactly.
Okay. And then the document takes a pretty deep dive into what makes up a computer-based information system, or a CBIS for short.
Yeah, and what's interesting here is that it's not just about the hardware and software.
Right.
A CBIS is made up of several key components working together, and they have to all work together.
Okay.
You have the hardware, the software, the databases, telecommunications, and even people and procedures.
So it's not just about the machines, it's about the people who use them and the processes they follow.
Absolutely.
That's a really important point, because you can have the most sophisticated technology in the world, but if you don't have the right people and processes in place, it's not going to be very effective.
It's like a car, right? You need the engine,
Yeah.
the transmission, the wheels, the driver, and even the rules of the road all working in sync to get you where you need to go.
Exactly. A well-designed CBIS is like a well-oiled machine where each component plays a specific role and contributes to the overall efficiency and effectiveness of the system.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. Now, the document also mentions cloud computing is a key concept in information systems.
Yes.
And this is something we hear about all the time these days.
All the time.
But I'm not sure everyone really understands what it means. Could you break it down for us?
Yeah, so think of cloud computing, like getting electricity from a power plant.
Okay.
Instead of having your own generator in your house, you rely on a centralized source to provide you with power on demand. And cloud computing is similar.
Oy.
It allows businesses to access computing resources like server storage and software over the internet.
So instead of having a server room in their office, a company can essentially rent space on a server somewhere else and access their data and applications online.
Exactly. It's a much more efficient and cost-effective way for many businesses to manage their IT infrastructure.
That sounds pretty convenient.
Yeah, it is. And there are different types of cloud services, too.
Okay.
Like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service.
Right.
These different models offer varying levels of control and flexibility so businesses can choose the option that best fits their specific needs.
Okay, so we've covered the basics of what information systems are and the different components that make up a CBIS.
Hmm.
Now the document shifts gears and dives into the various types of information systems that businesses actually use.
Right.
And it starts with transaction processing systems, or TPS.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, that sounds a bit dry to me.
Okay.
What's so exciting about TPS?
Well, think about all the everyday transactions that happen in a business, sales payments, inventory updates, shipping orders.
Right.
A TPS captures and processes all of that data,
Okay.
making sure everything runs smoothly and accurately.
So imagine a retail store without a TPS.
Oh, it would be chaos.
They wouldn't be able to track their inventory, process payments, or generate sales reports.
Exactly. TPS is the backbone of many businesses handling all of those essential day-to-day operations.
Yeah, so TPS is all about efficiency and accuracy.
It has to be.
Think about a bank processing thousands of transactions every minute.
Yeah.
The system needs to be incredibly reliable and secure
Oh, absolutely.
to ensure that every transaction is recorded correctly and that customer data is protected,
That's
which is really important these days.
for sure.
Now, the document then moves on to Enterprise Resource Planning Systems, or ERP.
Okay.
And it says that ERP takes things to the next level.
It does.
So
While a TPS focuses on individual transactions, an ERP system integrates all of those transactions into a single comprehensive view of the business.
Okay.
It connects different departments and functions like finance, sales, manufacturing, human resources,
Wow.
and it provides a holistic picture of the organization's operations.
So instead of each department having its own separate system, an ERP system brings everything together under one roof.
That's the idea.
And I can see how that would be valuable for decision-making.
Absolutely.
If you have a clear view of how all the different parts of the business are performing,
It's really powerful.
you can make more informed decisions about how to allocate resources, set priorities, and optimize your overall operations.
And ERP systems can help you identify areas where you might be duplicating effort across departments.
Oh, interesting.
And that can lead to streamlining processes and saving money.
That's a huge advantage.
It is, but implementing an ERP system can be a complex and costly undertaking.
Okay.
So careful planning and execution are essential.
Got it. So it's not a magic bullet, but it can be a powerful tool for businesses that are looking to improve their overall efficiency and effectiveness.
That's right.
Okay, so we've talked about TPS and ERP, both of which seem to focus on operational efficiency.
Yeah.
Now, the document introduces Management Information Systems, or MIS.
Okay.
What role does MIS play in the business world?
So MIS is all about providing managers with the information they need to make good decisions. It does this by taking the raw data captured by those TPS and ERP systems and turning it into meaningful reports and analyses.
So it's like taking a giant pile of ingredients and turning it into a delicious meal that's easy to digest.
I like that analogy.
For example, a sales analysis report generated by an MIS could show a manager which products are selling well, which regions are performing best, and which marketing campaigns are most effective.
Exactly.
And that information can then be used to make decisions about things like pricing, inventory, and marketing strategies.
It helps managers see what's working and what's not.
That sounds incredibly useful, like having a crystal ball.
A little bit.
That helps managers make better decisions. Now, the document also mentions Decision Support Systems, or DSS.
Yeah.
How are those different from MIS?
So DSS is designed to help managers tackle more complex, unstructured problems.
Okay.
While MIS provides reports based on historical data, DSS allows managers to explore what-if scenarios
Interesting.
and simulate the potential outcomes of different decisions.
Oh, so it's like a flight simulator for business decisions.
I thought that's a good one.
Imagine a company trying to decide where to open a new store.
Okay.
A DSS could analyze factors like demographics,
Right.
traffic patterns, competitor locations, and even weather patterns
All kinds of data.
to recommend the most profitable location.
It can help you make a more informed decision.
That sounds incredibly powerful.
It's like having a team of expert advisors
Why
at your
did you...
fingertips helping you weigh the pros and cons of different options.
So far, we've covered a lot of ground, from the basic components of information systems to the different types of systems used by businesses to improve their operations and decision-making.
We have, and it's only going to get more interesting from here.
I can't wait.
So in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore some even more cutting-edge stuff like knowledge management, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So we're back, and I'm ready to jump into some of this more cutting-edge stuff.
Me too.
The document talks about knowledge management systems, or KMS.
Okay.
And this seems to be about recognizing that knowledge itself is a valuable asset for a business.
It is. For a long time, businesses focused mainly on tangible assets.
Right.
Things you can see and touch, right?
Yeah, like equipment and inventory.
Exactly. But more and more companies are realizing that the knowledge and expertise of their employees is just as important.
If not more so.
Right. A KMS helps to capture and share that knowledge so everyone benefits.
So it's like instead of letting valuable insights stay locked inside people's heads,
Yeah,
a KMS makes that knowledge accessible to everyone in the organization.
that's the goal.
Okay, I like that. And the document also makes a distinction between explicit and tacit knowledge.
Right.
Can you explain that a little bit?
So explicit knowledge is the kind of knowledge that's easy to write down and document.
Okay.
Think about procedures manuals or those best practices you find in like every company handbook.
Right.
Tacit knowledge is a little trickier.
How so?
It's the kind of know-how that you gain through experience,
Okay.
like a salesperson's intuition about reading a client's hesitation,
Interesting.
or a mechanic who can just diagnose a problem by listening to the sound of an engine.
That's tough to teach.
Exactly. It's hard to put into words.
Okay, so it's almost like an art form in a way.
You could say that.
Yeah. And a KMS tries to capture both types of knowledge to make the organization smarter as a whole.
Right. It's about leveraging all the knowledge that exists within the company.
Okay, so this next topic is where things start to feel really futuristic.
All right.
The document dives into artificial intelligence, or AI.
Okay.
And it seems like AI is everywhere these days, from voice assistants to movie recommendations.
Yep. It's everywhere.
So what's the big deal with AI when we're talking about information systems?
Well, AI has the potential to revolutionize so many industries.
I can see that.
It can automate routine tasks,
Yeah,
make complex predictions, and it's transforming how we live and work in so many ways.
that sounds almost scary, to be honest. Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
That's a question a lot of people have, but it's important to remember that AI is a tool,
Okay.
and its impact really depends on how we choose to use it.
That makes sense.
While some jobs might be automated, AI also creates opportunities for new roles and new ways of working.
Okay, so it's not about man versus machine,
Right.
but about finding ways for humans and AI to work together effectively.
Exactly. And that's where ethical considerations come into play.
For sure.
Ensuring that AI is developed and used responsibly is a major challenge.
Okay, now the document then zooms in on expert systems as a specific type of AI.
Yeah.
How do those actually work? Can you give me an example that I might encounter in my daily life?
Okay, so imagine you're experiencing some unusual health symptoms,
Okay.
and you decide to use like an online symptom checker.
Oh, yeah, I've done that before.
That's a basic expert system.
Really?
It's capturing the knowledge of medical professionals,
Interesting.
asking you questions, and then providing potential diagnoses or advice based on your answers.
So it's like having a doctor in your pocket,
In a way.
but without the actual examination, which is both impressive and a little bit unsettling.
Yeah, the key is to use such systems responsibly.
Right.
They can be great for initial guidance,
Right.
but they shouldn't replace a consultation with a real doctor.
Good point. Okay, and finally, we reach the realm of virtual reality, or VR. This seems like something that's gone from a sci-fi concept
Yeah,
to something that's popping up everywhere these days.
it's becoming more mainstream.
So what's the connection to information systems?
Well, VR has huge potential, and it goes far beyond just gaming and entertainment.
Right.
When we talk about information systems, VR can be a powerful tool for training design and even data visualization.
Oh, wow.
Imagine architects designing buildings in a virtual environment,
Okay.
surgeons practicing complex procedures without any risk to a patient,
That's amazing.
or data analysts exploring massive data sets in a three-dimensional immersive space.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like stepping into a whole other world.
It is, and VR has the potential to revolutionize so many fields.
Okay, so we've explored a lot of different types of information systems,
We have.
from those that handle daily transactions to
Yeah.
those that are pushing the boundaries of technology.
Yeah, and it's all about using information effectively.
So how do these systems actually get built?
That's a good question, and that's where we're going next.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dives into information systems. We talked about the big picture, different types of systems, even some really futuristic stuff. But now I kind of want to get down to like the nuts and bolts,
Okay.
the hardware and software that make all this digital magic happen.
Right. The foundation of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use computers every day, but I honestly rarely stop and think
Yeah.
about what's going on under the hood.
It's easy to take technology for granted, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. But the document actually does a good job of breaking down the complexity of computer hardware.
It
It
does.
starts with like the brain of the machine, the CPU.
The central processing unit.
Yeah. And then it goes through all the different components that allow us to interact with it, keyboards, mice screens, all those things we use without even thinking about them.
It's amazing how all these different pieces work together.
Right. It really is mind-blowing when you actually stop and think about it. Like, I type a few words on my keyboard, and somehow magically those letters appear on the screen.
It seems like magic, but of course it's not.
No.
It's a symphony of electronic signals and calculations happening at like lightning speed.
And what's really fascinating is that the document doesn't just describe these components in isolation.
Right.
It actually shows how they've evolved over time,
You have.
leading to like incredible advancements in processing power, memory capacity, and storage capabilities.
Think about how much faster and more powerful computers are today compared to just a decade ago.
It's insane.
It really is. It makes you wonder what computers will be capable of in another 10 years.
I know, right? It's so exciting to think
And
about.
that's the beauty of technology. It's always evolving.
But even though technology is constantly changing, the fundamental principles of computer hardware remain the same.
That's true.
Okay, so we've talked about the physical components of a computer.
The hardware.
Yeah, now let's dive into the software that brings those components to life.
Right.
The document explains the difference between system software and application software.
Okay.
Can you clarify what that means?
Sure. So think of system software as the foundation of a house.
Okay.
It provides the basic structure and support for everything else.
Right.
The operating system, for example, manages all the hardware and software resources of a computer.
So it's like the conductor of an orchestra, making sure everything is in sync.
Exactly. And then application software is like the furniture and appliances in the house.
Okay.
It's the software we use to actually perform specific tasks like writing a document, creating a spreadsheet, or browsing the internet.
So system software is like the behind-the-scenes crew that keeps everything running smoothly,
Yeah.
while application software is the star of the show that we interact with directly.
That's a great way to put it. And just like there are countless styles of furniture and appliances to choose from, there's a vast array of software available for different purposes.
It's overwhelming sometimes, all the different software options out there.
It can be.
How do you even know where to begin?
Well, it really depends on your specific needs and goals. But the document highlights an important point. Software development is a complex and iterative process.
It's not just about writing code.
No, it
Yeah.
involves programming languages, testing, debugging, and ongoing maintenance.
Right, so you have to make sure the software is reliable, user-friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and actually does what it's supposed to do.
Exactly. And with the rise of open source software and cloud computing software development is becoming more collaborative and accessible.
Interesting.
It's a really exciting time to be involved in this field.
Okay, so we've covered hardware and software now. Let's talk about databases.
Right.
The document explains how databases are organized, managed, and used to extract valuable insights.
They're powerful tools.
I have to admit, databases have always seemed a bit mysterious to me. What's so special about them?
Well, think of a database like a giant, well-organized spreadsheet.
But,
Each row represents a record, and each column represents a field.
okay.
This structure allows us to store and retrieve information very efficiently.
So instead of having information scattered across multiple files and folders, a database brings everything together in a structured and searchable format.
Exactly. And what's really powerful is that databases allow us to perform queries.
Queries.
Yeah, essentially questions that we ask the database to retrieve specific information.
Oh.
So, for example, if you wanted to find all customers who live in a certain zip code and have purchased a specific product in the last month, you could do that with a database query.
So it's like having a team of superpowered researchers at your fingertips,
Exactly.
able to sift through mountains of information and find exactly what you're looking for.
That's a great analogy. And with the rise of big data and analytics, the ability to manage and analyze massive data sets is becoming more and more important for businesses.
It's essential.
Absolutely.
Okay, so databases are all about storing and retrieving information effectively. But how does that information actually get shared and transmitted across different systems and devices?
That's where computer networks come in.
Right.
The document provides a clear explanation of how networks function,
Okay.
from the basic principles of data transmission to the complexities of network protocols and security.
Networks are the backbone of our digital world, aren't they?
They are. They connect billions of devices and allow us to communicate and share information globally.
It's like the circulatory system of the digital world,
I like that.
carrying information to every corner of the globe.
And network technology is constantly evolving too,
Of course it is.
with new innovations like wireless networks, mobile computing, and cloud-based services.
It's amazing how far we've come since the days of dial-up internet and clunky desktop computers.
I know right now we have smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, all sorts of devices connected to the internet sharing information seamlessly.
It's mind-boggling, but with increased connectivity comes increased vulnerability.
That's right.
That's why network security is so important.
Absolutely. It's like building a fortress around your digital assets to protect them from hackers, viruses, and other malicious actors.
And it's not just about protecting data, it's about ensuring the privacy and security of individuals.
You're right, that's a crucial point. As our reliance on technology grows, so too does the importance of ethical considerations.
We need to make sure we're using technology responsibly and that it's actually benefiting society as a whole.
I agree, information systems are powerful tools that can be used for good or bad.
It's up to us to ensure that we use them ethically and responsibly.
I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive.
Yeah, this has been an incredible journey. We've explored so much.
We have.
From the basic hardware and software to the ethical considerations and everything in between.
I hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of just how important information systems are in our modern world.
I think it has, and I hope it's inspired our listeners to learn more about this fascinating field.
Me too. Information is power, and knowing how to use it effectively is key to success in today's digital age.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
It was my pleasure.